lives lost on Utah roads just this year. 24 of those coming since the start of Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, Utah Highway Patrol launching a new campaign aimed at keeping drivers safe ahead of this holiday weekend, and it's a busy one. It's called Resist Death, encouraging everyone to resist the chance of death by choosing a sober driver ahead of time. This comes as we are seeing an uptick in the number of deadly crashes caused by impaired drivers.
Well, today kicks off the 4th of July holiday weekend, and 90% of Americans traveling this weekend are doing so on the roads.
Joining us of what will be a busy weekend, we know this, is Sergeant Cameron Roden with Utah Highway Patrol. Thanks so much for joining us on set. We keep trying to push the message as much as we can. What do you want people to know this weekend?
This is going to be a busy weekend with a lot of people out there on the roads, having a great time, celebrating the weekend, which is great, and we want that. We want to make sure that people travel safely, make good decisions beforehand, and that way, ultimately, it doesn't end in a bad tragedy. So if they can do those things and just practice the driving habits that we all think we should be practicing, that we should be able to see that.
Sergeant Roden, we are working on a bigger story even that's going to air tonight, and we've looked at the statistics, the numbers. I hate to say statistics because these are people's lives. Yeah. But since 2019, we continue to go up in this department of impaired driving fatalities, where last year we saw a record number of fatalities. This year, it looks like we're on trend to beat that record.
Yeah, it's a trend we don't want to see continue. We want to make sure that we don't lose sight of the people and the families that are affected by this. And so referring it to as statistics, it can be take away from that. So we need to keep the focus on impaired driving, where we've seen this continue to increase, and just get people to be responsible for their decisions. Us as law enforcement, we're going to be out there doing as much enforcement as we can. We've got extra shifts, extra officers that are going to be out there this weekend, but we need the public's help. If we can get them to make the right decision to have a sober ride home before they head out, we should see success in that.
What are some of the major issues? Is it young drivers? I know oftentimes when it comes to impaired driving, when you can show them the devastating results, almost like showing things on a pack of cigarettes and what the result could be to your lungs, it's seeing that car crash, it's seeing that devastating result. To get that message through and get that across, that's not too harsh, right? Showing young people and those of any age how to drive properly and what can happen. Yeah, the consequences of that.
Yeah, showing that the severe nature of these things, the consequences of these decisions does reach most people. You know, you don't want to have any of your loved ones to have to go through that. But there is a certain group that it doesn't always reach. And then, so we try different approaches, like the campaign that we've got going now, which is the Defy Death, which is more of a less serious approach, but yet it talks about the serious nature of this. We also have a Destinations campaign with zero fatalities that's going on right now, talking about people out making happy memories with their families. And that is all brought to you and made possible by safe driving.
It is absolutely devastating when we hear after a holiday weekend that an innocent life has been taken, a family on the way home from a barbecue, by somebody who was impaired driving. Are you seeing more alcohol on the road? Are you seeing more drugs on the road? Or is it just a combination of both?
We see alcohol and drugs. We see both out there on the road. And sometimes we're seeing a combination of both. So a lot of times we focus on the alcohol side of impaired driving, and the drug side doesn't always get as much attention. But people need to know, one, illicit drugs, of course, is never okay. It's never acceptable. But even with prescription drugs, we need to know how that makes us feel, because if we feel different, we drive different.
Oh,
Make a plan ahead. That's the key. I mean, you can go out, you can have a nice holiday, enjoy what you want to enjoy, but plan ahead. Make a decision that you're not going to drink and drive or have something in your system that could impair you. Sergeant Roden, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it. And coming up tonight at 6:30, you guys, I gotta tell you, we ride along with a UHP trooper ahead of the busy weekend as they desperately work to protect Utah families during this 100 deadliest days of summer. This is something, it was a ride along with the DUI squad, and I'm telling you, the front line here, these troopers and what they are seeing on a given weekend will absolutely shock you. And so you got to watch that coming up tonight at 6:30.
We will. I mean, the rate of death